Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Today we have a brand new set of great stories for you to enjoy, and our first one will tell us about the boss who was born to be a librarian. Here we go. Cut my budget? I'll get that back and much more. Before I start, I want you to take everything I tell you with a grain of salt. Every bit of information I have is at least secondhand, and normally I do not dabble in university politics or budgeting. I'm merely a student that worked part-time for the library department that I'm about to tell you about. The whole thing unfolded over the last 2 years and just culminated in what I would deem the most professional way of handling the interest of the many in spite of the greediness of the few. So I'm just a mere student at a university somewhere in Europe. The university has departments for a lot of different fields of science, but the two main players are economics and law. Both of them get anything they want, even if it happens by taking from others. When I was in my second year at this university, I started working in one of the libraries the university provided. There are 4 different libraries: law, economics, philosophy, languages, and math, science, political science, history. I was delighted to have an extremely committed boss. Now about that boss. He was the born librarian, loving everything from upkeep of a library to doing research and providing all different kinds of services for students. Before I came to his team, he had implemented long hours in all the libraries. We were open from 8 in the morning till 12 at night, revamped the online search, and added a 3-dimensional floor plan to make finding books easier, did reviews, including the students learning the libraries 4 times a year, developed courses for students on how to do better research, which were made mandatory in a few areas of study, and did a whole lot of other things. He was truly amazing. But as you can imagine, all this cost a lot of money and was only possible because he found a lot of sponsors, the biggest of which was some kind of investor who graduated from this university. Him getting all this money on board and his commitment to the cause will make his reaction to the economics department building a totally unnecessary underground section of new rooms, which also meant basically rebuilding a whole wing of the main building and going vastly over budget, much more understandable. Half a year after I started, the dean announced that there was a deficit in the budget of about 3 or 4 million euros. That in turn meant that the other departments had to take a step back and that the money from sponsors would go towards the project started by the economics department. About a month later, the library only opened until 8 p.m., and the courses on research were disbanded. Not only that, but the dean told my boss that he would have to fire at least a few of his full-time workers and give more hours in work to students like me that normally would sort books in their free time. Needless to say, he was royally PO'd. He put about 10 years' worth of work into gathering money and building up his department, and he wouldn't give that up without a fight. He started by going over his own books, which proved that his whole department before the cut was functioning well under budget and that cutting his ability to do his work was completely unjustified. He then looked over how much of the money he got from sponsors actually went to his department's budget, since when giving money to the university, the investors weren't really able to demand where it was allocated. He found out that only about half of this money actually went into his budget, which of course wasn't a problem up to that point because he had more than enough. When the next budget revision came along about a year after the budget cuts, he put forward that information and proposed an audit of the use and necessity of the building that was finished just then. You see, the economics department had argued that there weren't enough rooms to accommodate the rising number of their students. So over the next half year, the usage of the new space as well as all old spaces was monitored. This audit was finished last year in August. Meanwhile, my boss started to groom the sponsors he had pulled on board. He asked them what they thought about how the university was managed, how happy they were with their money going to other departments, and if they wanted to change anything. And they were not amused. A lot of these sponsors, including the very big one, wanted something changed. They didn't have any influence on the university politics directly, but the one who owns the money owns everything. So they went to the university and told them that they were unhappy, at which point the dean and everyone else in charge realized that if they don't change something, the money flow would dry out, only increasing the already way too big deficit. Then the results of the audit hit. After monitoring for half a year, the university found out that the amount of dedicated rooms before building the new project was more than enough, and the project specifically was not only over budget, but the same number of rooms would have been able to be generated by renovating an older building for much less. The new rooms were also only open to students in the economics department and thus didn't really help the university as a whole. In the end, my boss got all his workers back, the libraries were again open till midnight, his courses were reinstated and expanded, and a larger chunk of the budget was allocated to the library department. The economics department, on the other hand, lost a lot of privilege. The new space was opened up for all departments, other projects were put on hold, and they were told that any further ambition that went over the now set-in-stone budget would have to be paid for by raising money from new sponsors. I'm telling you this story today because my boss told me just this morning that he had raised enough money to renovate 3 of the 4 libraries, rebuilding, of all things, the economics library completely. And our next story. Want to have a hotel room with 2 double-sized beds? Of course, sir. Your wish is my command. I was just a customer, but hot damn. I had a hotel room booked for 2 nights from a 5-star well-known hotel chain that rhymes with Holiday Inn. Room was the smallest, cheapest, with 2 double beds, probably even located below the parking garage. That was about the only room available, so it'd have to do. About a month later, I arrive with my buddy to basically drop our stuff in the room so we can take off right away while the sun's still up. In the lobby, there's about 200 people shouting all at once to the 2 ladies manning the desk. After making plans for a few minutes to store our stuff elsewhere, the desk attendant notices us, as if we clearly were not part of the huge group, so she waves us over, past the large group, and starts to handle our check-in. She politely asks us to fill the traveler forms while she's looking up my reservation. I thank her and try to make pleasant conversation about this and that, complimenting their uniforms and the hotel, trying to improve the sour atmosphere the angry mob has been generating all around. While we're filling the forms, an angry man next to us, who was apparently the leader of the lobby mob, keeps shouting loudly, "I demand that you arrange an extra room with 2 double-sized beds. We had a late addition to our travel, and they need a room with 2 double-sized beds. Right effing now!" Apparently, the arguing had been taking place for quite a while already. She tries to get a word in, but gets interrupted. "I don't care if your stupid crap hotel is full. Your job's to give us a place to sleep. Stupid woman. Get us another room. And double-sized beds. Don't try anything else. I'm not interested in anything else, you idiot. I wonder how you can keep your job if you can't even arrange a room for us." Every time the main desk attendant tried to talk to the angry man, he rudely interrupted her with more and more shouting. Only thing I can do is to keep smiling at the ladies sympathetically. She: "We don't have double-sized beds available, but we do have—" "I don't want to hear it. Just do your job and press the buttons to make it happen. You must be mentally slow, aren't you? 2 double beds, or is that too difficult for you?" The clerks share a tired look with each other, but suddenly both have this lamp lighting above their heads. They converse for a moment, using their native language, while pointing to their screens and proceeding to tell me, "Our apologies, sir, but unfortunately we don't have your room with 2 double beds available, which you'd booked for. As you see, we're a bit full today," while she's gesturing towards the mob in the lobby. My heart sinks a bit, until she continues. "So, because we're fully booked, the only room we can offer you is the executive suite on the 24th floor, obviously for no extra cost. Unfortunately, it doesn't have 2 double-sized beds." She makes eye contact with the angry man and continues, "But it has 4 king-size beds, each in their own en-suites." The angry man drops dead silent and is just staring at us. His mouth just moves like the mouth of a fish who's stranded on dry land. While looking at me again, she continues, "I hope you'll accept the free room upgrade with our most sincere apologies on behalf of the hotel management. And of course, all of the room service is free, including refreshments available in the suite kitchen and the suite bar areas, and all hotel VIP facilities are at your disposal 24/7. Please do enjoy your stay, and let us know if there's anything we can do to make your stay more comfortable." She dings a small bell, and a piccolo takes us to our bags while gesturing towards the fancy separate elevator at the side. I'm so shocked that I can only mutter a little bit of thanks and follow the piccolo. While we're making our way towards the elevator, the main desk is explaining to the angry man, "Sir, I'm happy to inform you that we were able to make arrangements to have a single room with 2 double-sized beds available to accommodate your extra guests. That'll be 199 euros added to your bill." The man snaps out of his trance-like state, and the shouting resumes. "What the F? I don't want some single room with double-sized beds. I want a free executive suite, too. Why the F do those effers get the effing suite and I get some crappy single room? This is unacceptable. Why did you give my better room to those 2 F-wads instead of me?" She now has a much more commanding tone and responds, "Unfortunately, sir, our free executive suite is not available. It is booked now. I tried to offer you king size, but you were having none of it. So, will you take the single room or not?" I can't accurately tell you what was said next, but I'm quite sure it's lots of cursing and throwing more insults from the man, using the man's native language. All I have is this crap-eating grin while the bellhop closes the elevator doors, taking us up. Maybe half an hour later, when we head out to check out the city, the lobby's been cleared. We go to the desk to thank the 2 attendants and give them both a good tip that we easily save with the free room service over the expensive hotel restaurant. Unfortunately, our schedule doesn't allow us to enjoy the free hotel VIP service as much, but the ladies definitely earned a little bit of extra. It was a great experience for us, and I still remember this clearly after a long time. That front desk girl, she was truly maliciously compliant with the angry man. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.